Today's lesson is 6.5, Measurement, Changing Metric Units. Yesterday we did changing customary units, and today changing metric units is more of European units. We don't use meters, liters, and grams as often as the Europeans do. So, main idea is changing metric units of length, capacity, and mass. Metric system is a system that we don't use as often here in America, but you're familiar with centimeters, meters, not very familiar with kilometers, as we're mainly dealing with miles, yards, and inches, like the customary units that we went over yesterday. So these are all a part of the metric system of meter, liter, and gram. And you'll notice we have a nice mix here of kicked her duck under daddy's cement mixer. Now this is a phrase to help memorize for the metric system, that it has a nice quality that our customary system does not have. The K stands for kilo, H stands for hecta, D stands for deci, DECI, U stands for unit, little d stands for deca, C stands for centa, and M stands for milla. Now, for example, with meters, we'll actually go on to example 1 in a second, but with meters, everything is dealt in with units of tens. That's what makes the metric system a much nicer system to use, especially in mathematics when you're just multiplying by some form of 10, meaning 10, 10 squared, or 100. Or 10 to the third, which would be 1,000. Depends on how far up and down that scale we are going. In this key concept, you'll notice there are transitions between customary and metric units, but as you'll notice, this whole line right here, that they're all approximation. So 1 inch is close to 2.54 centimeters. 1 foot is approximately 3/10 of a meter. And again, 1 yard, following that math, is 91 hundredths of a meter. And it can also go the other way, as 1 mile is 1 61 hundredth kilometers. And so on. We will refer back to that chart a lot. It's good to have those numbers handy. So now we're first converting units in the metric system. Completing 6.1 meters equals how many millimeters? So meters, first going to write it down, 6.1 m. M is going to be a part of this U right here, because that's the unit, meters. Whereas they were looking for millimeters. Now if you remember a lot of our meter sticks and rulers, there's 100 meters in a centimeter. There's 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. So as you see right here, since we're hopping over 3, that's 3 zeros with a 1. So we're times it by 1,000. So there's 1,000 millimeters in 1 meter. So now we can do our conversion. Again, meters are going to be on bottom. We have 1 meter for 1,000 millimeters. And our labels cross out. And when we're multiplying by zeros, this makes it very easy. We have by 1,000, pardon me, we have 3 zeros. That means we're moving the decimal spot 3 places to the right, because our number is getting bigger. So we have 6.1, we're moving our decimal 1, 2, 3 spots. Now as you'll notice, our new decimal point spots down here, we do have to fill in these blank bubbles, as always, with zeros. And our first decimal actually turned into a comma. So our answer is 6,100 millimeters in 6.1 meters. And that's the work we're looking for on the homework. You need to have some sort of math going on there. You can't just do everything in your head. Now we're completing 60 centimeters in is how many meters? So we'll write here, we got 60 centimeters, and we're going to look for the conversion of centimeters in meter. Now again, if we go back up to our unit here, we see we're jumping 2 to the right. Centa is 100, because we've got 2 bubbles here. It's going to be 100. no common 100. So that means we have 100 centimeters in 1 meter. 1 meter is bigger than centimeters, and since centimeters on bottom, our number is actually going to get smaller. So we're going to cross off our centimeters. 60 goes into, we have 60 times 1 over 100. We can actually divide both these by 10. Now I have 6 and 10. 6 is divisible by 2, as is 10, so 6 divided by 2 is going to give us 3. 10 divided by 2 is going to give us 5. So now that we go across, 3 times 1 is 3, 5 times 1 is 5, because again there's that 1 always under there. And so now I have 3/5, which I'm going to turn into a decimal, and that one's actually a little mental. 3 divided by 5 is 0.6 meters, and that's going to be our final answer. In this case, I do want it in decimal form, as in previous problems they have not given us a fraction. If they gave us a fraction, we would use a fraction, but in this case with metric units it's just so much easier using a decimal to move that decimal left and right. Example 3. A jug holds 49/100 decaliters of water. Find the capacity of the bucket in milliliters. Now as you notice, this D is capitalized. That means we're going to be using this one right here. The smaller d is deci, because it's EC, whereas this has got a K. Also noticing the capital D means we're getting bigger. Now we're trying to find the capacity of the bucket in milliliters. So I have 0.49 capital D lowercase l for liters, actually capital L for liters, times, I'm going to have decaliters bottom, milliliters, again small m for milliliters on bottom. So looking at our chart, deca is capital D right here, mill is way down here. So move 1, 2, 3, 4 letters. So that means we're going to have 4 zeros, so that's 10,000. We got 1 deciliter, and there's 10,000 milliliters. So now we've got to move our decimal point, as you see there, 4 spots. So now I'm going to write 0.49, 1, 2, 3, 4 spots, fill in the blanks with 0. So now I have 4,900, so I'm just going to rewrite that out as 4,900 milliliters in 0.49 decaliters. That is our answer. Now we are going to try converting between measurement systems, so we're going to have to use that chart that was right at the beginning. Smithy ran 3 72/100 miles. How far did he run in kilometers? This is also a note to round to the nearest hundredth if necessary, and they actually gave us our conversion right there, as 1 mile equals 1 61/100 kilometers. So our first step, as always, is to write out what they gave us, 3.72 miles, and we're trying to find kilometers. So kilometers will be on top, miles on bottom. Our miles label will cancel out, but we're also just going to substitute this value in here. We have 1 mile per 1.61 kilometers. Rounding to the nearest hundredth. So first we need to calculate this out. We always want to calculate it all the way out till the end and then round at the end. We don't want to round any earlier than when we have our answer. So I'm going to use our calculators to do 3.72 times 1.61. It's going to give me 5.9892. 5.9892. And so if we remember from our placements, first number there is tenth, second number is hundredth, so we're looking at the third number. If that third number is 5 or larger, we're going to round up. So I see that 9 is larger than 5, so we're rounding up. So 5.98 becomes 5.99. And don't forget to switch your equal sign into an approximation, because 1 mile is approximately 1.61 kilometer. So we have 5.99 kilometers is our answer. Our last example is converting 27 inches into centimeters. Round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. So 27 inches, what we're given, write it down first, times, we have inches on bottom, centimeters on top, because we always want to cancel our inches. We're given 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. And again, now we're just multiplying across. Again, using a calculator, 27 times 2.54 is going to give us 68.58. And again, approximation sign, 68.58. And since this spot is a hundredth, we don't need to round. We are already, we don't have an extra spot to round off from. So we're actually complete here. We just need our label, and our label is left over is centimeters. So our answer, 68.58 centimeters. Again, this section is a little bit easier than the past section. However, we do have, inches to feet and yards all memorized. But these, you just have to memorize that list given above. And since we have this in our notes, you're ready to go. So you want to keep track of these notes. If you do need any extra questions on these, there are examples online that are also done from the peer tutors, as well as the extra worksheets you can work on there.